Good evening and welcome to Forge 2.0 Podcast. I'm your host, The Wild Man. This is DJ Tiano, my awesome co-host. DJ.
What's going on, man? I am excited for today's interview. We have a great interview lined up for you guys.
Yeah.
If this is somebody that I've crossed paths with through the DJ world,
Okay.
as you guys know, I DJ weddings. I
Mhm.
DJ'd multiple friends of hers weddings, and
Okay.
we just kind of, came across each other's paths on Facebook.
Okay.
I realized what she did. It was very uplifting. It was very inspiring. So I thought we got to get her on.
Kind of in line with what we do over
Yep.
here. Awesome.
So we're gonna pass on, and we all want you guys to say hello to Jess. Hello, Jess. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited to be a guest on your show. You guys froze for a second there in the beginning, so I picked up my phone to tell you that you were frozen, but sounds like I just picked up at the end of the intro, so I feel like I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Sorry about that. It was an awesome intro.
Yes.
We told everybody how awesome you were.
Catch it on the replay.
Yeah, you'll catch it on the replay. Awesome. So, Jess, I was telling everybody how we just crossed paths through me and my DJing. I DJ'd a couple friends of your weddings, and we just actually found that out, which is cool. And one of the things, that you're always doing in your videos that you post for your company, for your business, is you dancing like nobody's watching. And obviously that's something that I'm always, it's cool because that's what I do. I love to see people dancing. I love to see people having a good time. You want to give us a little information to what your business is and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a money mindset and manifestation business coach. I actually launched my business in June of 2019. So I'm actually approaching my 2-year anniversary, which was just like crazy to me because
awesome.
A lot of what I do with manifestation is talk about quantum leaping. And I just feel like the amount of quantum leaps I've had in the last 2 years, it's gone so fast, but also feels like it's been so long, like in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
I teach a lot actually through raising your vibration, your frequency, which is through movement. I've always loved to dance. I've never been a great dancer, nor would anyone ever want me to teach them to dance. And I'll touch more on that in a second, but kind of what led me to what I do today is I actually have like kind of a messy backstory. I met my daughter's father my senior year of college in 2013. Light years ago, seriously. And I met him when I was really young. He was actually going through a divorce. He was previously married, had 2 kids, 8 years older than me. And when he was kind of going through that hard time, I was kind of just becoming who I wanted to be. And I felt so lost. I remember going to college thinking that I was going to graduate and have like this white picket fence life, right? Like I was going to have the job, like wake up feeling fulfilled every single day, like have all this money, dream home, happy family. And I quickly realized that that was not the case. And him and I kind of got in this downward spiral of partying and drug use and drinking. And it wasn't until about 2 years had passed that I had some like crazy medical stuff going on. And, God kind of like intervened. And in that moment, it was like, why is this happening to me? But hindsight is 2020. It's like everything is happening for me.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was already significantly in debt. I was going to a job every single day that I was making like $12 an hour, right? Just to make benefits, was living below paycheck to paycheck. And I was just like, this can't be it. Like, this cannot be what I do until I'm 65 to like maybe retire and then have like another 10, 15 good years left in me. Like, I was so depressed and I was so beside myself.
So you were at the state, what we on this podcast tend to tell people, the stuck mindset. You were in the mindset where
Fixed mindset.
Well, I call it the stuck mindset because people tend to feel like they're stuck in tar and they can't do nothing or go anywhere. So this fixed mindset is kind of what opened your eyes. This is what, usually when people hit the bottom is usually when people have these affirmations and these thoughts and tell themselves this is the time, right? Is that kind of what happened with you?
Absolutely. And the sad part is as humans, we don't have to wait until our back is up against the wall. We don't have to wait until we hit rock bottom, but it's like human conditioning, right? We kind of always hear this, the only way to go is up, right? That's a conditioning. Like we shouldn't have
Yep.
to feel like we have to hit rock bottom to go up. You know, at any given point in our life, we have the decision to rise up. It's just we tend to wait until our life is at its breaking point.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, that was like probably the worst time of my life. I found out I had an autoimmune disease, which luckily mine is not chronic. It just really, you know, healthy lifestyle, feeding your body nutritious foods, not doing drugs and drinking 5 out of 7 days a week. And so I ended up actually joining a CrossFit gym and really just wanting to change my surroundings, right? We can't always change the people around us, but we can change the people around us.
Yes. I love that saying.
Really, it's honestly so powerful. Like you could change your whole life with like that one paradigm shift. It's really it's beautiful. But I grew up in a small town, you know, so like all of the kids that I grew up with, like I was the fun, like, I mean, I got great energy. No, I'm like, I'm fun, but I was like the party girl. And so when I like no longer wanted to be that person, like I lost an entire friend circle. And so I was like, I need to find a community of people that want like celebrate others and want to celebrate their success. And so I actually joined a CrossFit gym kind of on a whim, and found this incredible community of support. And I started to realize that like my past experiences didn't need to dictate who I was and who I had the potential to become.
That's awesome.
And I thought, like, maybe I want to be a personal trainer, right? So I'm like, I'm going to be a personal trainer. Now, this is like the universe works in mysterious ways. You know, I had a girlfriend that I actually met through mutual friends. And she was like, you know what? I know you want to become a personal trainer. I know this girl. She's totally your vibe. Like you should hop on a call with her and like see what she does. Now, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, right? But this girl could have been selling vacuum cleaners and I would have been sold, right? Like I was like, I want what she has in her life. Like she's happy. She has like this zest for life. I ended up signing up as a Beachbody coach. So, which I still partner with them today. It's not
That's
what
awesome.
I do full time, but I actually joined network marketing. I had done their programs for years in college and, you know, loved, you know, Insanity was like my OG, you know, like that was my go-to program, changed my life when I was in college for a little while even. And I was like, I'm going to do this. Right. But I had really little belief in myself. You know, my external world did not necessarily reflect the person I was becoming on the inside. You know, I was still with my daughter's father at the time. Now I didn't have a daughter then, right? Like it was me, him, and his 2 daughters. And he was still struggling with what he had going on in his life. Right. And so I struggled a lot with this, like that imposter syndrome, right? Like who am I to help people on their health and fitness journey when like I have this mess going on in my life and like I'm just starting out. But what I found was that starting messy is so much more inspiring to people than waiting until it's the right time. Because if you wait until the right time, you're never going to do it. And so I just started sharing my story. I just started sharing like the good, the bad, the ugly, the in between. And 2 years into sharing that journey, I was actually able to replace my corporate income with what I was doing with network marketing, which is like, woohoo, like it's amazing, right? Like that's like the goal.
Yeah.
But then life happens, you know, because we have programming in us that designs us to use our potential as a means to prove people wrong sometimes, right? There were so many people in my past that had wronged me or that didn't believe in me that I actually was leveraging my success as a way to be like, hey, look what I can do. You told me I couldn't do it. I'm going to do it anyways. Right now, I'm an Aries. I'm an Enneagram 3 wing 4. I'm an ENFP. So I hold a lot of masculine energy. Like you tell me I can't do something and I'm going to be like, watch me. Like that's just how I am. But what I found was once I hit the goal of staying home full time, that was the goal. So it was like, I had nothing else to push for. Right. And in the middle of kind of all of this beauty unfolding, I actually found out I was pregnant with my daughter. She was a total surprise. Right. So here I am, like we were just kind of getting to the point of like paying off our debt. Her dad had actually gotten sober for 2 years. Like, so while he was sober, like was when all this happened. And I was like, oh my God, like my life is finally coming together. And now, of course, and this sounds, you know, terrible to speak out loud, but it's just part of my story. I felt like my life was falling apart. I'm like, I'm about to have a child that I'm like not even prepared for, you know, like
what we call momentum. When you lose momentum, it plays tricks on your brain and it kind of brings you back a couple steps. Like for instance, the pandemic, how many people have been sidestepped or swerved by the pandemic. So
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And that was kind of like my draw a line in the sand moment. That was, now at that time, I had actually been outside of my corporate job. I was working 2 other jobs. So I was working 70 to 90 hours a week, 7 days a week, right?
Wow.
Like when I'm telling you, there was nothing that was standing in my way of like making my dreams come true, right?
That's
Like I was like,
awesome.
I don't care what you throw at me, like I'm going to show up. And that's why like I'm big on messy action, and I preach just taking like massive, messy action. Because like if you really desire it, there's nothing that's going to waver you. Like you are literally going to show up.
How much of success would you say is just showing up? How much percentage out of 100 would you say is just showing up? Because a lot of people say that.
I think you kind of need every piece of the puzzle, but 90% of it is
It's
showing
just showing
up.
up.
For sure.
I agree. I agree.
Absolutely. And I mean, your mindset has to be on point as well. And if your mindset isn't on point, sometimes 90% of that showing up is you doing the work on you to get your mind right. Like,
Exactly.
however, you have to show up in a big way, but like you have to be willing to bet on you. Like I see so many people that like, I hate the word side hustle, but for lack of a better term, because that's what people call it. They're like, oh, I'm building my side hustle. Well, if you keep treating it like a side hustle, it's always going to be a side hustle. I'm like,
Exactly.
I showed up, like, yeah, I had to work, 3 other jobs while I built my side hustle, but I spent every single day pouring into me and pouring into that side hustle more than the energy I put into those other things. Because why am I going to pour all my energy into these things that aren't my forever, that aren't my desires, when this is what I really want over here? Where your focus goes, your energy grows.
Absolutely.
So like, if I want to grow this energy, like you need to be pouring into that every single day. Like all this other stuff, like, yeah, do you have to do, be grateful for it, be grateful for the abundance that the universe has given you. But like, this is where you want to go. This is where you focus.
Can you say that again? What you said about the energy and the flow? I want to write that. I might borrow that from you.
I love it. Where your focus goes, your energy grows.
Sweet. I just want to say before I go ahead and ask the next question,
Yeah.
there's not much that you didn't leave out.
Yeah, I know. Wow.
Yeah. It's absolutely astounding, and it's awesome to hear this much motivation and inspiration come from somebody, and to watch how successful they become every day, over every day. And this is somebody I don't even know. This is just the magic of social networking. Yeah. And we talk about that all the time as well, how important networking is.
And engaging.
How important has networking and social media been for you?
Oh, it's like, I always say I have like the craziest relationship with social media, because like for me, I don't see the negative stuff on social media. So like for me, like the people that I attract into my space, 99.9% of the time are like people where I'm like, these are my people. Like these are the people I want to work with. These are the people that like I want to show up for. These are the people that I'm cheering for, But I think it's so important. I think, ultimately it's important to honor your boundaries. We can't say yes to every opportunity that is brought to us, because if it doesn't align with where we want to go, then that's just an energy leak, right? And sometimes we get so focused on saying yes to everything that we end up serving no one, right? Like if you try to please everyone, you end up serving no one.
I have that problem.
It's a part of the game, right? Like in the beginning, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't know often in the beginning, right? You're like, I want to do this thing online. I want to make money online. I want to serve people, but sometimes we don't always know how, right? So sometimes you just kind of have to go with what opportunities come to you. You have to kind of network with things that like maybe you're unsure of, but you don't know until you try, right? But once you kind of start to do those things, weeding out that process and saying, like, I say no all the time to companies on Instagram that will slide into my messages, like wanting me to sell a product or a program or promote something that just doesn't fall in alignment with my belief system. Or if I know that I'm not going to be able to give them the energy that they deserve, right? Like I have so many things that I'm focused on all the time. I'm multi-passionate. Like I literally, like I always say that I'm like the coach with no niche, because like I literally don't have one other than like manifestation. But it's like, I want people to like get the best of my energy, not the rest of it. So I also say no sometimes, like out of their betterment,
Well, that makes us over here at Forge appreciate it that much more that you came on our show, because you didn't see it as a waste of time. You've seen it as something that's in your niche.
Absolutely.
And
always a hard word. I never know how to say
it. Yeah. I guess it could be said either way, depending on who you are. But when you said yes, I was like, awesome, because this is something that we've what are we in, 16, 17 episodes? And we've had a handful of interviews, and it's hard.
This will be 18.
Yeah, it's hard finding people out there that actually agree to the interview process. And I mean, again, this is something that we're just starting. We're just starting to get a feel for it. We're just starting to understand how this world works. Everybody hopped on the podcast train due to the pandemic.
Yeah, everybody. That's an understatement.
It's a huge trend right now. And not only are we using this as a tool to uplift and inspire people, we're also eventually we want to monetize and do all the and turn it into a business, just like anything and anybody else would like to. So what exactly was the driving force behind you choosing this avenue of work?
Ooh, okay. So remember that surprise pregnancy? Wow. That was what I liked. So I talk a little bit about astrology too, and what I do with manifestation. It just kind of goes with it. So I was approaching what we call Saturn's return. And this is basically like Saturn is a planet. It's the great rectifier, right? So like basically every 27 years, your Saturn's return pops up to help you rectify things in your life that you haven't been willing to address. It often affects career, relationship, and finances. I had all three, okay? Like all life came to a crashing halt. I had actually built my business to the upper 0.2% of the company in my network marketing business. But what I found was my daughter was about to turn 2. I had quit my full-time job and both part-time jobs, and I was just solely doing my network marketing business, which was great. But I was so focused on the dangly carrot that it was actually making my business go backwards, right? I was so focused on why am I not here yet that I wasn't grateful for what I had already done, right? And so I'd worked myself up to the upper 2% of the company, and I went to this massive event. It was like, all inclusive. They pay for everything in Vegas. And I remember going to this opening event and seeing all these multiple 6-figure and 7-figure earners, and literally like wanting to walk out the door and like go back to my hotel room and just like hide there. Like I just did not feel like I was worthy of being there. And I was just like, what is the point of this? I'm like, you're going on all these fancy trips to, at the time I was still overdrawing my account, right? Because I had scarcity mindset beliefs around money, just how I grew up. And I was working 7 days a week. I didn't even remember my daughter taking her first steps, and I was home with her, right? Like it was just never enough. I was living in a mentality of it's never enough, right? Like I'll do that when. I'll pay attention to my daughter when. We'll go on that vacation.
That fixed mindset.
Fixed mindset. And so I came back from that trip and I cried on the couch for a week. Now, I debated on actually quitting the company and going back to a corporate job. Like that's how low I was. I was $29,000 in debt. Ooh. I had $1,000, and that was consumer debt. Okay. Like consumer, cause it's like, you think you got to fake it till you make it, the lifestyle, right? I don't teach that anymore, but I had $1,000 left on my credit card. Now my daughter's father had gone back to substance abuse. And so I knew that I was like, I can't be in this relationship anymore. Like my external life is no longer reflecting my internal state, right? Like it's just duality. It's not going to match. And so I was like, I had a Hail Mary. Okay. This girl I actually reached out to about becoming a coach in my downline flipped the script on me. And she started talking about mindset. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like I blew off our first call. Right.
Yeah.
But now I'm at my lowest of lows. And I'm like, I think I need you in my life. Right. So I did a 1-month intensive with her. I booked out that last space. I literally maxed out all my credit cards, right? Like talk about Hail Mary. And I was like, if this does not work, then I'm going to quit and I'm going to go to corporate, right? Like I'm going to go back to corporate America. Well, of course, me being me, there was no way it wasn't going to work because I was going to find a better way, or if not this, then something better. Within a month of working with her, I started to notice that like my life was it was changed. Like it was not like my business did not go from 0 to 60. It was me doing the work on me. And it was like understanding like, oh, you've been creating this reality. The reason you don't feel like you have enough money is because you're telling the universe that you don't have enough money. The reason you're not seeing more success is because you're focused on the success that you don't have, right? You're looking at other people and you're putting them on a pedestal. And instead of using what they're doing as a reflection, saying, because I see it in them, I hold it in me, you're feeling resentful. And you're like, why is it happening for them and not for me, right? And then I also realized that all of the things that I desired on my vision board, on my goals, like, the dream house, the travel, the spending the time with my family, all of those things were being put on hold to what? attract more success. It's like, we can't get to the dream life by putting off the dream life, right? Like we have to take the action that's in alignment with getting there. So we create the when. It's not, I'll take my daughter on walks, I'll take my daughter on trips when. It's, no, I'm going to take my daughter on, go outside and go on walks now. I'm going to take my daughter on trips now. I'm going to do those things with her now, because once we can live a happy lifestyle, then the success will follow. It's not the success comes first and then the happiness follows. It's the happiness.
It's very important to plant that seed. Do it now. As soon as you have that thought, do it now. So, which kind of defines manifestation, which is what our episode today will be about. Yeah. So we're going to have a little episode after this, after your interview, and we're going to talk about stuff like this. But coming from your views and your standpoints and all the things that you've already said, can you give us a little enlightenment on manifestation and your view?
So, well, I mean, goodness, like how much time do we have?
As much as you want, but you keep it short, sweet, however you want to do it. You're an outstanding guest. You bring enthusiasm to the table, and that's why I had to have you on our show. I was like, this she's just so filled with life. And so anything any value that you can add to the podcast.
Are you saying the last awesome. 3 worked?
Our last 3 episodes were about depression, about bullying, and what was the other one?
It was fuck depression. Then it was a mindset.
Yes.
Which apparently people now are starting to like, and then it was bullying.
But these were.
So wait, I can cuss on this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Oh God, I feel so much better. I've been like wanting to because I have a potty mouth, and my daughter's 4, and I've been having to reel it in. I've been wanting to do this this thing on TikTok, like notes home from my daughter's teacher, because my daughter now she says, "Oh crap."
Yeah.
That's been fun.
My daughter says, "Oh shit," so.
Yeah. She may have come off the bus singing WAP at one point, and I was like, oh.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's a little much there, little one. But she has 2 older sisters that are definitely in their TikTok phase. So
yeah, I actually just joined TikTok, so I'm late to the party. So
I'll give you a follow. Follow me back. I'll give you a follow.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So yeah, digressing back to manifestation. Just give a brief, you don't have to go into crazy detail if you don't want to. If you want to, that's fine. This is great content.
I always believe that whatever I say is meant to be heard. So I'll just riff off. Number one, the only reason anything is ever real is because we believe it to be real, right? That's why everyone has so many different belief systems, right? And it works for them, right? If people believe in this, it works for them, right? I believe in this, so it works for me. So manifestation is ultimately, the law of attraction is a tool of manifestation, right? So there's 12 laws, right? And you kind of need all of them to really be a master manifester, right? Mm-hmm. The one that we really focus on, and what I think is probably one of the most important ones, and the ones that you probably hear the most, is law of attraction, right? What you put out is what you get back. And basically, if you're putting out these codes or these signals to the universe, I want to be out of debt. Our subconscious mind controls 99.9% of everything that we do on a daily basis. Our subconscious also doesn't know how to filter out negatives. So if you're putting out to the universe, I don't want to be broke, I don't want to be in debt anymore, your subconscious only hears debt. Yes. And so you're putting out debt, lack, scarcity into the universe. And so you're bringing that back in. So it's that quick shift and saying.
So it's saying change the subconscious to conscious mindset.
Yeah. Yes. And they have to be in pure alignment, because we all consciously could desire $1 million, right? I think most of us wouldn't have any objection to manifesting $1 million, right?
If someone was one of the first thoughts we think of when we want to improve ourselves.
Absolutely. But if our subconscious has been programmed to, see your parents work really, really hard for not a lot of money, right? Maybe your parents were well off, but they fought a lot. So your belief system is money is the root of all evil. That might not be what you consciously believe around money or success, but if that's what you grew up around, that's what you internally believe. So there's an incongruency. So your conscious mind could consciously want $1 million, could consciously want success, but your programming says otherwise. And so the work happens, especially in manifestation and with what I do, is unlocking those codes, helping my clients understand what are those limiting beliefs that have held them back, that have they've been running on autopilot, right? And that's their map. So identifying the pattern, disrupting the pattern, and then rewriting the pattern. So giving them new rules. So instead of them focusing on their debt, saying, you know, I am an abundant receiver. I am the wealthy woman. I am the wealthy man, right? Instead of saying, I want to be debt free, saying,
Aiming for abundance and whatever you're aiming for.
And it seems totally like woo and like, oh, it's just silly, but it's just like working your muscles, right? Like if you have never, you know, maybe, I don't think this is true for you guys, but like maybe someone out there is like, you know, they've never done a push-up before, right? Maybe they've never worked out a day in their life and their goal is 50 push-ups.
I've worked out before. Why are you laughing at me? I've worked out a few times. I just don't make it very long.
I just look, well, she's saying that, and I look over at the picture and I see me, and then I see you.
You guys both look like very fit gentlemen. Like
I may not lift weights all day, but I'm a business owner.
I work my mind.
I work that too.
I mean, like, you guys definitely look like you guys have some muscle. So like, you know, besides me over here, you know, I'm doing like my 8 tricep push-ups and I'm feeling like a baddie, you know, I'm like,
So tell us how important, because I do notice that you're into fitness. How important has fitness been for you?
So important. So, well, I'll segue into that. And so basically, if you're going to wake up tomorrow, you think you want to do 50 push-ups, right? You're not going to go from doing 0 to 50 tomorrow, right? Like it's right. You want to do 50 in a row, you got to work up to it, right? Just because we can't see what's going on in our head doesn't mean that it's not a muscle that doesn't need to be worked, right? Like it's the most important muscle
that you have to work out. Yeah.
You know,
I preach this when it comes to meditation. So I'm fairly new to meditating. And I've started realizing that the main reason people don't do it is because they think it's kooky or it's just stupid or it's for hippies or it's for, you know, people of a certain religion and things like that. And once you get past that, once you get past the idea of what you're actually doing and understanding what it's doing for you, like it's working out your brain, like you were saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of people just think it's a waste of time, right? A lot of people struggle, like we wear hustle as a badge of honor, right? And some people are like, I already have too much to do during my day. It's just another thing I have to add on, right? And so they say, oh, if I have time, I'll tack it on at the end, right? When it's like, no, if you would just do this, it'll shift everything else in your life. Yeah. You'll start to have more time. The to-do list will actually start to get smaller. Like there's going to be things that rise up to meet you in your external world that you're like, oh my gosh, how did that even happen, right? Like when you make a declaration of your desires, the universe rises up to meet you. You are a co-creator with the universe, right? Like
absolutely.
The creator cannot function without, the creator cannot function without the co-creators, and the co-creators cannot function without the creator, right? Like we're a team. And so when we declare that we're worthy of this, and when we make ourselves a priority and we tell the universe, I'm going to take those 10 minutes to meditate. I'm going to take that 30 minutes to work out. I'm going to take that extra hour every single week to meal prep, to make the grocery list, to pick the nutritious food. When you put that out into the universe, your creator, whatever you believe in, is going to rise up to meet you and fall in alignment with that. Like we're always supported. Like we just don't believe that we are because we wear hustle as a badge of honor and we tell ourselves we just don't have enough time. Well, if you believe you don't have enough time, you won't.
So since we're talking about habits and rituals and things like that, I heard something, we did an episode about rituals and habits and stuff like that. And I've heard that it takes about 60 something days to do something consistently, you know, maybe working out or meditating or whatever you're trying to achieve. Is this something that you've heard? It takes 60 days to like absorb and do that daily before it becomes just something that you do without it becomes a habit, or it becomes something that comes easily to you. Have you heard something like this before?
So I think I've always heard that like it takes 21 days to break a habit, right? But like tack on another 21 to make it a habit, you know? So it's like 21 to break the old crappy habits, another 21 to make it a new habit. And of course, you know, just kind of coming from a background of health and fitness, of course, there are so many other things that like fall into play, right? Like, especially me being a woman, right? Like working with other women, like where we are in our cycle depends on, you know, it factors in how well and how we're going to basically stick to a habit, right? So like if I'm closer to my time of the month, it's going to be harder for me to like stick to something, right? Based on like my hormones versus if I'm on, you know, I just completed my cycle and then I'm going into like, you know, the first 2 weeks of the month or after my cycle where it's like my energy is heightened, right? Like both sides of my brain are like at equilibrium, right? Like my estrogen is higher than my progesterone. Like, so all of my my hormones are in favor of my actions, right? So like if I'm going to make a new habit, I want it to like fall into alignment with that time in my cycle, right? And that's just like something that I think for like women in particular, but I'm sure men have the same thing, right? Like I'm not as sure about the male body, but I really, here's how I feel. Here's how I feel about this is highly successful people are highly consistent with their rituals. I don't care what your rituals are, but like it has to be a ritual that allows you to pour into you. We cannot pour into others if we can't pour into ourselves. And like, I have never met or gone to an event of a highly successful person who did not make their health and their fitness and their mindset a priority. Like it takes all three. And so like every single day, like it is very rare that like people will wake up and by 9 a.m. I don't have something on my Instagram stories, whether it's like me doing my journaling, me doing my meditation, me doing my workout, me having a dance party, me throwing down some rap. I did like some rap challenge on my Instagram stories a few weeks ago. And honestly, I'm really good at spitting some Lil Weezy. So like, if you guys want to see it, I'm here for it. You know, I listen to country 90% of the time. So I was proud, right? But like, I truly believe that I have become the successful person that I am because I am unwavering in my ability to bet on myself, but also in my faith that if I continue to show up and bet on me every single day and pour into me, magic will happen. But there's so many people that don't do that. And they stay in their victimhood and they're like, well, I want what you have. Are you willing to do what I did to get there? Because it wasn't all caterpillars and sunshine and rainbows, right? Like I was like, I showed up when my life was falling apart, when I was, you know, ending a relationship, a 7-year relationship with my daughter's father, selling a house. I literally launched a business. Okay. My Next Level Magic business that I launched in June of 2019. I was doing discovery calls in my car while I was selling my home. Like literally I was selling my home, doing discovery calls with a 2-year-old in the backseat, and my freaking PayPal account got hacked, right? So it's like, I have access to no money. And I'm literally like homegirling it in my car with my 2-year-old in the back. Like basically my life is in upheaval, right? But I'm like, there's nothing that's going to shake me from this. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know, and I knew why the chaos was happening, right? Like I knew based on like my chart and Saturn's return and all the stuff I talked about before. So I was like, I know that on the other side of this, magic is going to unfold. And I held on to that. And I freaking sold out my first launch. And I sold out my first launch. I had my first 5-figure launch that I hadn't been able to do that in 5 years in my network marketing business, right? And then here I am, I'm like, oh my God. Like it was just, I was so committed to the end goal. And I was so committed to getting this work in the hands of more people that I was like, I don't care how I'm going to do it, because there's going to be a day when I look back on this story and it's going to inspire people. Like
it's already inspired. This, you know? It's already inspired me. So,
oh, I'm so glad. But yeah, like, I mean, literally
when you said 5 figures, I seen his eyes light up over there. So my next question is, do you take male do you take male clients, or is it just a female business?
Yes. So I'm so glad that you asked that. I know we kind of touched on this a little bit before, but yeah, in the last probably 6 months or so, I've actually had a few men like join my group coaching program, some of my masterminds. I've definitely had calls with men that are interested, and I'm open to working with men. I think, as a woman, and especially like, having a larger social media following, and definitely like I always tell people, I'm like, I'm pretty average looking. It's just my energy that you vibe with. I'm like, my energy like takes my like attractiveness from like a 6 to an 11. Like, it's just the energy, like, I'm like, so don't be fooled. But it's like, it's been a process of me working through that mindset as well, right? Like, it's my comfort zone is working with women, right? But it's like, I know that men need this work too, and men thrive off of this work, right? Like, I actually had a guy reach out to me to do one of my latest masterminds, and the transformation that he had just from like even halfway through that mastermind was just like mind blowing, right? And we had a call not too long ago just to kind of like catch up and see where he was at and like where, moving forward, working together. And just like the shifts that he made, because just as like females need male mentors, right? Like I am like a Gary V, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone fiend. Like I love that masculine energy, but it's like, men also need that feminine energy, right? Like that's like, it's like chakras.
Men overlook how much women are actually needed in their lives. I will be the first to tell you that it is this ego that men carry.
Yeah.
And to see you breaking that barrier, to see you empowering, this is not just empowering the people that you're working with, but this should be empowering the females that watch your short clips and what you're all about. This should be empowering other women to show that they are indeed important, or just as important as men are. And
Absolutely.
I see as a society that has been lost. So that is
Absolutely.
excellent that you have, you have opened up your horizon a little bit. So
Thank you.
you
No,
got any
thank
questions
you.
for Jess? You're all,
No, I've just been listening. She's been hitting. I mean, we haven't really had to ask her the question.
she's an easy
She's
interview.
been kind of just flowing. I mean, like I said, we had something about lists. She talked about that. She talked about confirming. She talked about the manifest destiny. The only thing I would have, she talked about constant focus. The only question I would have is, once you settle on what you want and you put it out into the universe, do you feel that you need daily affirmations to, to make it through to each day? Is that something you talk about, or?
So, I mean, everyone's subconscious, unconscious is different, right? There are people that, daily affirmations, they're going to definitely help, right? It's like another repetition of working that mindset muscle, but it's not just the affirmations, right? It's really sometimes, we kind of live in a society too that has been teaching a lot of toxic positivity, right? We find just as many answers sitting in the darkness as we do when we get to the light. And sometimes we have to just be willing to sit in those dark feelings. It honestly, it sucks. And like, I'm so like high vibe all the time that even like I find myself like, if I'm like going through some stuff or I'm feeling conflicted, it's easy for me to shift out of it, right? But sometimes I have to ask myself, do I want to shift out of this? Because there's a lesson here. Like whatever you're feeling, this heaviness, this constriction, this like darkness, like there's a lesson here. And so whenever that
embrace
happens,
the darkness,
you have to embrace it. So sometimes a lot of it is, really getting in tune with your emotions, getting real intimate with, who you are, where you want to go, who do you want to become? And sometimes when you ask people to get specific on what they really want, it brings up a lot of shit because they realize that what they thought they want isn't actually what they want,
Yeah. So we experienced.
Sometimes you need the bad wolf.
We experienced a little dark spot last week as we sat here, and we usually do like preliminary talks before our podcast. We talk about what some ideas, maybe some segments we could do and things like that. And we had a little dive in the numbers, and we weren't down on ourselves to the point where we quit, because we're not those kind of type of people to just give up and quit.
I didn't look at the numbers until you told me. I don't focus on that. I just want to do this.
We were like, we need something. We need a boost. We need something. And I mean, we brainstormed, and it really just falls back on, you just got to keep going. You just got to keep believing in yourself. And you have shown us that today. You've shown us that with your successes. You've shown us that with just your influences on people and what your actual job is now. So,
Thank you.
Yeah. I think, I have one more question for you. I was looking at, we're in all these podcast support groups, right? Where either podcasters or people who listen to podcasts all chime in with questions and answers and whatnot. And one of the things I seen was, it said, what are your favorite questions to ask people you interview on your podcast? And I found this one very interesting. Is there any questions that we didn't ask that you think that we should have asked about yourself?
Ooh, I feel like you guys did a really good job. I feel like you guys hit all the marks there, honestly. And I feel like, it's hard to say that too, because you probably have so many different people come on, right? Like what I would expect someone to ask me isn't what I would expect someone to ask, I think
that's the nature of the question. And that's why it intrigued me so much, because anybody could come up with anything about themselves. So like if there was something that, you were maybe itching at talking about today with us, or, something that maybe have escaped, just through the talks that we've had or whatever, maybe a thought that you had and it just escaped through conversation or whatever. I just thought that it might've been a cool question to ask. So it's my first time asking the question.
I think stuff like that, it kind of divvies where people focus on if it's if it's a male or female that they're interviewing. I think they tend to try to sometimes go towards more female things or more male, like if she's a woman, so we'll ask her more woman things versus well, she said she's got it all and she's just like rah, and let's take this on and let's do this. So I know I've heard that a lot of people they've got a woman, we'll only ask her like, feminine questions and let's.
And I almost wish that people wouldn't do that, because I also feel like by them trying to be like respectful of women is also that kind of like being like, they're still like, don't be afraid to ask this stuff. Like if you're gonna ask a man that question, you ask us that question. I also feel like if someone gets offended by what you ask them because they're a woman, or like, that's on them. Like when you offend someone, it's almost never on you and almost always on them, right? Like if you're doing everything with the intention of positivity and change, like if people get offended, that's on them. One thing I love that we talked about before this too, and I'll kind of segues into that, is messy action. I love that you guys record this raw. You guys don't do the edits. Like one of the things I tell my clients all the time is your second best work seen by the world is always better than your most perfect work that goes unseen. And like, if you are willing to show up messy, if you are willing to fail, whenever we start something new, we got to be willing to suck. Like we just gotta be willing to suck when we start something new, because that's how we learn, right? And like, no matter what, even if we go, take 2 steps forward and then take 10 steps back, right? Like even if we fail and we feel like we're starting at square one, it's never square one. It's always practice. We've always had practice. And so I think, as entrepreneurs, we're also growing kind of in a society where we're afraid to say things. We're afraid to say things for fear of offending someone, for fear of stepping on someone's toes. We're taught to play average. We're literally taught like, it's not okay to celebrate your success. We're becoming more of a we society than a me society. And I'm not saying that from a standpoint of like, don't love your neighbor, don't help your neighbor. Like absolutely help your neighbor, love your neighbor, do the right thing, be a good person. But like, it's also okay to like not want to be average. Like run so far away from people that tell you you're playing too big. Like I don't want, like when I'm running a race, like I'm running with people that are like clapping alongside of me and that are like at the freaking finish line telling me to like cheer louder, right? Like I want people to know that like my table has chairs for them. And if I'm not playing loud enough, my people aren't going to know that there's chairs for them. So like I run so quickly away from people that tell me I'm playing too big. Like, why don't you just want to be average? You're doing too much. We live in a society that we're feeling like we have to conform to everyone. Like, God forbid we offend them with our success or we offend them with our beliefs. Or
this is a mindset that's actually helped me in my DJ career. I mean, I always wanted to be a DJ. I bought the stuff and I just jumped in. I didn't know anything about it. I taught myself, and I got as far as DJing 98 PXY Summer Jam, and that was I opened up for Alessia Cara, which was awesome. You know what I mean? So she's a Grammy Award winner. I never thought Joe Schmo from, Rochester, New York was going to just start DJing. And next thing you know, be on a stage, grace the stage with a Grammy Award winner. It was awesome. Like,
cool.
And I was told that, you're not going to get far doing that this late in your life. You know what I mean? So
I like how she said the quickest way to kill $1 million dream is to tell it to somebody with a $10 mindset. Yeah. I like how she said that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Jess, I think we covered all the questions that we have for you today.
Yeah.
It was an absolute pleasure to have you on. We want you to plug away. So if you have any plugs or if you just want to send people in the right direction towards your business, feel free to now.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I love connecting with more people. If you are, want to work on manifestation, want to work on your mindset, maybe you are launching a business or you're brand new to entrepreneurship, you can head over to Instagram. My Instagram handle is at its.jes.lyn at itsjesslyn on Instagram. I have links in my bio on where you can find me to work with me. We could set up a discovery call to see if we're a good fit for one another. Awesome. I'm actually launching a mastermind right now. It's a 3-month mastermind designed to help people not only get the mindset component, but get the business basics as well. So I'm going to teach you like how to build a web page from the ground up, sales pages, strategy, sales funnels, email pipelines, basically like my life's work condensed into 3 months, and then how to pair the two together. So it's like a full experience. There will be one-on-one calls in there, group coaching calls, but it's a full immersion experience designed to help you like not only create a business, but to like bring abundance and monetize.
Well, shit, awesome. You might get a call from us.
Absolutely. I have spots open. I also have one-on-one spots available as well. I don't take everyone on. The discovery calls are just as much for me as they are for anyone
Absolutely.
else that's interested. I want to always make sure I'm a good fit for my people and that my people are a good fit for me. So yeah, the gram is where you'll find me. Also on Facebook, it's Jess Lynn, Jes space Lyn. It's like it's my alter ego because it's not my real name, but
that's
cool. All right.
That's cool.
We'll have to. One thing I want to say, I've loved your energy. You know, we talk about balance over here, and DJ's the other side of not me. I tone myself down a bit, but I don't know how he feels, but I'd love to have you back on, you know, down the road. I mean,
down the road,
this energy is great. We've talked, a big thing of mine. He calls them Hallmark moments.
I call them full house moments.
Sorry, yes, full house.
You know, at the end of Full House, when the music gets all lovey-dovey, and he's starting to tell his kids the lesson they learned from today's episode.
I have a huge thing about like engagement and the fact that you know, we didn't have to draw the answers out of you and pick. You were just, you know, you wanted to speak. That's awesome. So
I love that. That makes me feel so good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
It's been a blessing in disguise. Like you say, people somehow, the universe, you know, deals the cards, and somehow they fall on the table just right for this. So today's episode is falling right in line with basically everything that you've talked about today. So we want to thank you. We appreciate everything that you do for everybody. And we want to, you know,
you'll be getting invites from both the groups. We didn't even tell her about the other group.
I would love that. Thank you so much. And yes, please let me know too, guys, like how I can share more of you guys. I love your guys' energy. Like, I'm a fan. Like, I'm excited to be back on the show. Like, I'm excited for collabs. Like, you guys have great energy. So like
interviews, we kind of tone it down. It's weird. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what works best for like the recording so that we can get everything. Because we're thinking of what we want to do a live.
Yeah, eventually.
And that's real, where there's no editing at all. It's like, that's it. This is it. This is, you know, one shot, boom, you're done.
Do it.
We are. I'm excited. I just got to kick some people.
I will be tuning in live. Like, I'll
awesome.
be your biggest supporter. I'll be cheering you guys on the whole time.
We'll also be glad to take your links. So if you want to send me some links through the DM, we can put them up on our page, and you know, people can see for themselves what you're all about.
Well, she doesn't have a podcast, but could we maybe, you know how you do the podcast shout outs? We can always, what do you think? Could we add her into that? Like, shoot her in there. Hey,
today's interview, she kind of,
but I mean, like, you know, every couple of episodes when,
we'll throw something in there for you.
You know, just check out our friend Jess.
You're out there doing, you know, the work that more people should be focused on, and more people really need to tune into. So you're pretty much the example for what our show is about. You know, we really
the female version.
I love it. Oh, I'm so here for it. When I'm done with my 75 hard challenge, like, seriously, but like, gotta have like people in there. Like, we're gonna be having drinks, shots. I don't know if you guys are into shots, but like, I swear I manifest better when I have a little buzz. So
maybe
we're hanging out.
Yeah, maybe things open up and I start to DJ around town again. You could come out and we'll hang out.
Absolutely. I would love
because come tomorrow, I'll be able to hang out without a mask. I'll be vaccinated.
I love it.
Awesome. And I just want to let everybody out there know, she is our first female guest, so she's broken barriers on today's show.
I love that. Can I actually snap a boomerang for the gram? You guys are on Instagram, right?
Yeah. Go for it. Right. What you got to do?
Snap a boomy for the gram.
What the hell is a boomerang?
It's one of those moving pictures.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Righty. We're gonna do. What are you guys gonna do? Want to do like whatever you guys want?
There you go.
Peace sign.
2, 1. Got it. All right. I'll tag you guys. So make sure you give me your handle. Message me your handle.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm so excited, guys. You guys
have
are
a great rest of your day.
Yes.
And you
again,
go out there,
thank you so much.
Yeah. You go out there and you keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great.
And you guys too. Thank you. Seriously, this made my whole month. You guys rock.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Later.
Have a good night.